This one alone, I would like to bring to the stage. He is a classic film lover, but the real reason we have him here today is so that I can make Ben Mankiewicz jealous. Ladies and gentlemen, Mario Cantone.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. So they called me at 12:30 a.m. last night saying, look, can you do the big heat with Eddie? Because Dana Delaney can't do it. Can you dress like Dana and try to fool the people? And I said, no. Can I do it as Katharine Hepburn? They said, no, just come as yourself. And I said, okay, I'll be there. I promise.
As you can see, Mario is the perfect guy to introduce this grim crime film.
And Eddie, I'd never seen it, you know. So I watched it last night and again this morning. And it's an incredible film. I love this movie. It's fantastic. I love Gloria Graham, too.
Okay, we're going to definitely talk about...
I love it all.
Okay, how many people in this audience have not seen this movie before?
Oh, my God.
wow.
Okay, that's fantastic.
So we're in this week. Okay, so this is fresh.
Okay.
It's fresh for me.
No spoilers.
No, I know, I promise you.
that.
But can I just say one thing?
I try to stop it.
I said this, I saw a clip of this a while ago of Gloria Graham with a martini pitcher, just like dancing,
It's in the trailer.
stirring it right. Because of that clip, I bought that martini pitcher. I went on eBay and I found the martini pitcher, and I have it at home. I don't even drink martinis.
You could have just called me up. I have like 5 of them.
We love glassware and stemware.
We were just comparing notes on our glassware, right? Because I have way too many cocktail glasses in my house. Gee, I wonder why. And you know, so and I just said to Mario,
Well, you wrote the book about it.
I know. I said we'll take pictures of our favorites and see if we can trade. We'll swap. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Anyway, what does that have to do with Big Heat?
Well, because it's, you know, glassware is so important in movies like this.
Ceramic coffee mugs are more important in this movie.
That's true. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
I'm not gonna say anything.
You saw how many people haven't seen the movie. Okay. But I do want to say one thing. Never believe what directors tell you. Okay? Because we interview directors at this festival, and they will take credit for everything. Right? And I cannot tell you, growing up, I saw this movie when I was very young, when I was a teenager, and I started reading film books and the whole bit. And Fritz Lang was one of the preeminent film directors in the world. And I read all these interviews with him, and he took credit for the most famous scene in this movie. Like it was his idea, right? And I don't want to spoil it. You who've seen the movie know exactly what I'm talking about. It involves Lee Marvin and Gloria Graham, and of course, then I grew up and I read the source novel. I read William McGivern's book, The Big Heat. That scene is in the book, exactly as it appears in the movie.
So he didn't invent that.
He did not invent that scene. It was William McGivern wrote the whole thing. And the book is very, very similar to the movie, except Dave Banyan, the cop played by Glenn Ford, is a much, much younger person in the novel. And he has he's like studying theology and stuff. I mean, it's a very, very moralistic book.
And didn't they want like Edmund G. Robinson for this originally?
Yeah, there was a lot of talk, but of course, Glenn Ford was a lifer at Columbia Pictures, you know. And what do you think of Glenn Ford?
I didn't appreciate him until I got older either. And he's in this. He's so good. I mean, I haven't seen everything he's done. I mean, I've seen Gildan, but he's very vulnerable in this, and he's angry, but he's a kind man. You can tell because he can't do certain things that some of the other guys can do, and some of the other women can do. So I think he's magnificent in this. And I've never seen Lee Marvin in one of his earlier films.
Oh my
and he's
God.
just like lanky and goofy and sexy and mean all at the same time. and I was so happy it wasn't a musical because Paint Your Wagon was enough. Yeah, you know. But
I was born a star.
Oh yeah, they call the wind Mariah. And Clint Eastwood too. They call the wind Mariah. Okay. Yeah, all right.
I had a Lupino in
Lee Marvin
Roadhouse.
is fantastic. He's the greatest thug in motion pictures.
And the lead thug, his name, what is that?
Vince Stone. You mean Lee Marvin?
No, the lead thug in this, the one is the crime boss.
Oh,
Time's up, I'm sorry.
oh my God, I failed.
See, this
I
is
just
what
hand
happens.
back my hosting
Yeah.
card.
You know, this is what happens. You know what Betty Davis said? Old age ain't no place for sissies. And she's right. I'm a sissy and old age ain't no place for me. We forget. But no, the lead guy that's very, very you know, very kind of
I'm
Italian.
gonna say like Alexander Scorby.
Yeah, but what's the character's name?
Lagana.
Lagana.
Like Lagana.
Lagana. Yeah, he's really good too. He reminds me of a lot of relatives.
And while we're running down the list, I want to give a shout out to Jeanette Nolan, who plays Bertha Duncan. She's wonderful. She's fantastic. And she and Gloria have a great scene together. No spoilers. But there are, I learned this from Dana when I introduced film the other day, that Gloria Graham's best lines in the picture were actually written by her husband at the time, Cy Howard, because Gloria thought her role was a little bit underwritten. Okay, so and all the great stuff you see her do in this movie is Gloria Graham just kind of improvising.
Well, you know,
And she drove Fritz Lang nuts because she would just do things oddly and differently, which made her so unique as an actress. You'll see there's a bit where she comes into the room and she climbs over the sofa.
Yes, she climbs over the sofa.
And that is not in the script. She just did it that way.
That's called an actress that was just free. She was free.
Yeah.
She had no boundaries. She just kind of did it. I think she's so good in this, and her arc, just the where she begins and then where she ends. And Jocelyn Brando, Marlon Brando's sister, is in this, and
plays Glenn Ford's wife.
And,
in the movie.
yes, and she played Barbara Bennett in Mommy Dearest. Barbara, please! Remember that? Barbara!
But you'll know the two great lines that Gloria has in the movie are when she visits, and these aren't spoilers. When she visits Glenn Ford's apartment where he's living after he's left the police force, she walks in and she says, "Oh, I like it. Early nothing." And that was Cy Howard, because that's what Cy Howard said to her when he went over to her apartment the first time when they were seeing each other.
So
That was his
she
line.
just take these lines and throw them out there?
Yeah, she would do
have a plan.
the little dance that you're talking about. That was Gloria completely. This is kind of her signature role, because she was unique, because she played damaged women mostly in movies, but she did it in a very unusual way because she was so funny.
Yep.
She was sexy and funny and kind of ditzy,
But always knowing, always knowing in the back of her mind. And she won the Oscar the year before for The Bad and the Beautiful. You said
It was at that
shortest-
time the shortest performance to ever win an Oscar was in The Bad and the Beautiful, and this is the one that she should have won the Oscar for. It's not even nominated.
She wasn't even nominated.
No.
And Glenn Ford's beautiful in this. He wasn't even
Let me
nominated.
explain something to you,
What the hell
Mario.
happens? What happens?
Crime films are underappreciated. That's why when TCM does 31 Days of Oscars, somehow Noir Alley miraculously disappears.
Ooh.
That's a very good point.
There were films that were nominated for Oscars that were noir, right? Crossfire with Robert Ryan and all those great performances. But that's the thing. Crime films, like comedy, are not appreciated enough, right? Nobody
I
ever
agree.
wins
Comedy
for a
too.
comedy
No one wins
performance
for
in a film, even though a great comedy performance carries the whole movie. That's what people pay to see. They want to laugh, but they don't get awarded anything.
No, and unless there's a huge superstar in that lead in the film noir. Mildred Pierce is considered a film noir, is it?
It was a woman's picture at the time.
How dare you say a woman's picture?
But only in retrospect did people realize, this is actually a film noir.
This is the real deal.
Yes, this is fantastic. And as I've said, if you saw me introduce Seven the other night with David Fincher, or introduce Dirty Harry with Andy Robinson, I could draw you a direct line from the 1950s and The Big Heat to Dirty Harry in 1971 to Seven in 1995, because they're all about, the theme is how do we police evil? So when there's evil loose in the big city and somebody's job is to combat that, how is that done? And so it's interesting, and in this festival with crime and justice is the theme, we're getting a look at how that was done in the 50s, how that was done in the 70s, and how it was done in the 90s, where basically with Seven, you just give up. There's no hope anymore.
There is.
And Morgan Freeman is like, it's not a nice world.
But even in the beginning of this movie, when it's set up, you just think, how are they going to resolve this? Everybody's too involved and connected to the evil in this, and you're like, how are you gonna get rid of this. That's what I liked about it. It's very unpredictable.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is good as the book is, the screenplay is even better because it's by a man named Sidney Bohm, who was a crime reporter for the newspapers back east and then came to Hollywood, and he was a crime specialist. And this screenplay is genius. It is geometrically precise screenplay.
With added lines by
Cy Howard and Gloria Graham. And yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. So those of you who have not seen this movie before, you are in for a treat. Thank you for coming. Those of you who have seen it before, you know exactly what you're in for. The last thing I will just say, Glenn Ford is a shit magnet in this movie. If you are a woman, do not get close to Glenn Ford because nothing good is going to happen to you.
That poor guy. It's just a lot happens. A lot happens. And if you do want the martini shaker after you see it, go on eBay. It's available. It's classic. It's fantastic.
Mario,
Eddie, thank you for having me.
a pleasure, buddy.
I'm glad I enjoy the business, everybody.